Hey everyone, it's Zahava. Welcome back to the channel. For today's video, I have for you guys just a little mini book haul. I was going to record the video about all of the books that I have on my Kindle, but I needed to have two devices working. I needed to have my cell phone working because I'm recording on my cell phone, and I also needed to have my tablet working so I could read the back of the books to you so you could understand why it is that I chose it, and also so I could understand why it was that I chose it. So we're gonna have to record that video a little bit later. Yeah, I just want to show you guys a little mini book haul that I picked up at bookoutlet.ca again, and I think that officially I'm already gonna have to put myself on a no buy or a book buying ban because every time I walk into a thrift store, especially if the book is only costing $2, it's really hard for me to say no to something that I may want to read. And I don't know exactly what the physical count of my TBR is. I'm working on that, so that'll be coming up in a future video. But for now, the box that I showed you in a previous video is actually like overflowing right now. So I really have to be careful and not be buying any more books at this moment. So without further ado, let's get into this little book haul. It'll be a shorter video, but after the last one, if this comes out after that 40-minute video, you guys are probably going to be thankful for that. So let's show you what I picked up. So I had heard really good things about The Martian. I didn't see the movie. I know that there is one. I would rather read the book first. My husband always tells me books are better than movies. I don't know if they always are. Like sometimes I get annoyed and I just want to like get to it and see the action happen. But I've never read Andy Weir before. I hear that he is very funny and very accessible, so I'm excited to read this book. Let me know if you guys have read it. I will say, though, that I'm a little disappointed as to the format. So I thought, and I do check the format of the books when I buy them. So for some reason, I guess in my mind, 5.5 inches kind of translated to 6.5 in my brain. It's not quite a trade paperback format, so I'm not really sure what I'm going to be able to do if I decide to annotate this book or not. I don't tend to buy mass market paperback because they're kind of clumsy to read. I used to read only mass market paperback, but since I've gotten into annotating, I've sort of tended towards trade paperback because there's more room to write in the margins and things like that. So when I got this book, I have to say I was a little disappointed in the format, but that just could be because I didn't really process the measurements properly while I was writing it. So I'm not going to be able to annotate this book because there's not really like a lot of space in the margins and things like that. But that being said, I don't know if it bothers me that much because there are some books that you just don't want to annotate. And sometimes, like there's one that I just read, which I haven't spoken to you guys about yet, but it will be, as I keep promising, I will talk about it in an upcoming video. But I did finish reading just a couple of days ago, The 7 Days of Peter Crumb. And I really wish, I was actually like 20 pages in before I said to myself, I should really be annotating this book. And then I just finished the book and I never annotated it. And I'm really kind of regretting that now because there were so many things I wanted to say and now they're just gone into like the void because I didn't do it when I was reading the book and in the moment. However, again, there are some books that I just don't want to annotate because I'm either going to be reading them, while I'm traveling in the car or that type of thing. Or, I mean, obviously not when I'm driving, but when I'm in the passenger seat, if I'm traveling or if I'm on an airplane, I don't know, again, if I'm going to be I was hoping to bring my Kindle, but we'll talk about that in the next video. But basically some books you just don't want to annotate because you don't want to schlep around all of your annotation supplies, especially if I'm going to be reading in bed. If I'm trying to read, because I'm one of those that sometimes I like to read before I go to sleep. And if I'm just reading to kind of like mentally escape and relax, for now, for example, I'm reading The Princess Bride. And I don't know where I am in my Goodreads right now, but I want to say I'm like 30% of the way in. But that's going to be a slow read. I don't know if I'm going to finish that book right away because it's meant to be living on my night table. It's meant to be, I can't sleep at night, I pick it up. It's meant to be something to lull me to sleep if ever, I'm just feeling restless and want to sort of, I don't know, sometimes people read before bed. I know that not everyone loves to do that, but for me, it works. And, you just don't want to be annotating books because then your brain wakes up and you're not in a state of relaxation and then you're thinking critically and all that. So sometimes there are books you want to annotate. Sometimes you just don't want to do it for whatever your reasons are. This one, I'm not going to annotate just because it's not in a good format, but it's fine because there will be times when I will need to have a book that I don't annotate, and this will fit the bill for that purpose. And so the balancing act begins. The next book that I picked up is The Yellow Bird Sings, which is a novel by Jennifer Rosner. Again, a smaller format than I was expecting, but I think still strictly trade paperback. It's just not as big as the ones I normally would get, but it's definitely not a mass market format. And I'll read you a bit of the back. This is kind of a historical fiction. Okay, as Nazi soldiers round up the Jews in their town, Roja and her 5-year-old daughter Shira flee, seeking shelter in a neighbor's barn. Hidden in the hayloft day and night, Shira struggles to stay still and quiet as music pulses through her and the farmyard outside beckons. To soothe her daughter and pass the time, Roja tells a story about a girl in an enchanted garden. The girl is forbidden from making a sound, so the yellow bird sings. In this make-believe world, Roja can shield Shira from the horrors that surround them, but the day comes when their haven is no longer safe, and Roja must make an impossible choice: keep Shira by her side or give her the chance to survive apart. So, the thing is about World War II and Holocaust novels, I'm always a little sensitive about it. Not because I had any family who survived or was a Holocaust survivor, but growing up like I did in the 80s and 90s, because I was born in 1981. So you can do the math, but I'm pretty transparent about my age with you guys, usually. But I was born in 1981, and there was a Holocaust survivor actually that lived down the street from me. And so, being Jewish and having that be like an integral part of our cultural history, I tend to stay away from World War II novels and movies as it happens, because I just feel like an overwhelming, really truly overwhelming sense of empathy. And actually my husband's family, his grandmother on his mother's side was a Holocaust survivor. They managed to escape to France and then come over to Canada. So there's sort of a little bit of that touches my life, albeit like a really, really little bit. And that's actually kind of a stretch. But, I met his grandmother because we were together long enough that I would have met her and had conversations with her. And, I don't know, it's just something that when I went to a private Jewish school when I was younger in elementary school up until the 5th grade, we would go to the Holocaust Museum in Montreal and we would just learn about it as part of our curriculum. And, it's a sort of a sensitive topic for me. So, but again, I say that just out of a sense of empathy and not because I actually know anyone who survived it necessarily. So, I'm not sure how I'm going to feel. All of this is to say, I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about World War II books and things like that. I will say that in terms of movies, I really enjoyed Jojo Rabbit, so which I know you guys may or may not like, but I really enjoyed that in terms of a World War II movie. But I did have trouble with the gore and violence in Inglourious Bastards. So and also, like, when I watched Schindler's List, which was like, oh my God, over 20 years ago, that was really hard for me also. So, which I'm sure I'm not alone. I'm sure there's a lot of people, whether you're Jewish or not, that find these movies very kind of disturbing. But what was done with Jojo Rabbit, if you could make a Holocaust movie funny, it was just brilliantly executed. And that's like more of what I want to see, like a happier sort of spin on things, if such a thing could be accomplished. But I don't know. I'm trying it out. Historical fiction, not really my thing, but this one did look interesting. And as I've mentioned before, with books that like Gone Girl, that I think are going to make me a little uncomfortable, I like being able to put it down. I like being able to say, okay, I'm too emotionally on a roller coaster right now. I need to put it down and come back to it when I'm in a better headspace. So I'm trying this book out. If you've read it, let me know what you think of it without spoilers, please, in the comments. The next book that I have here is Before We Were Yours. This is also a novel by Lisa Wingate. I don't know this author. Again, not super pleased with the format of this book. I would have wanted it to be, it's kind of like the same format as The Martian. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to annotate this book. I don't think so by looking into it. There's not really, but again, that's fine. It'll just be one of the books that I don't annotate. So I'm just going to read you a little bit of the back and what made me choose this book. So it says, in this poignant novel, inspired by a true story, two families, generations apart, are forever changed by a heartbreaking injustice. I'm intrigued. Memphis, 1939, 12-year-old Rill Foss and her 4 younger siblings live a magical life aboard their family's Mississippi River shanty boat. But when their father must rush their mother to the hospital one stormy night, Rill is left in charge until strangers arrive in force. Wrenched from all that is familiar and thrown into a Tennessee Children's Home Society orphanage, the Foss children are assured that they will soon be returned to their parents. But they quickly realize the dark truth. At the mercy of the facility's director, the cruel and real-life Georgia Tan, Rill fights to keep her sisters and brother together. Then the second paragraph on the back says, Aiken, South Carolina, present day. Born into wealth and privilege, Avery Stafford seems to have it all. A successful career, a handsome fiancé, and a lavish wedding on the horizon. But when she returns home to help her father weather a health crisis, a chance encounter leaves her with uncomfortable questions and compels her to take a journey through her family's long-hidden history on a path that will ultimately lead either to devastation or to redemption. So I guess this is kind of like a generational fiction. I'm unfamiliar with it. I think I probably saw the Goodreads rating of this one because, you know, I don't know. I can't help myself. I'm a glutton for punishment, I guess. When I pick up a book, I immediately go to Goodreads. And I have to say that there's some books, for example, again, The 7 Days of Peter Crumb, which I really enjoyed, but it did not get great ratings on Goodreads. So I don't know. Maybe I just have an unpopular opinion. I'm not sure. But in any case, this one had probably good ratings. So yeah, I just picked this one up because it sounded interesting to me. It's like slanted. So you guys are probably going to recognize this next title. If, you know, I should like back this up so you guys can't see. So you guys are probably going to recognize this next title. I don't know if you were able to see it up there or not while I was filming because I didn't really pay attention, so I don't know. But you guys will probably know this from having seen it on Netflix, and it is Bird Box. Okay, I heard this one was a bit of like a scary movie and I could be wrong, or maybe just because I saw it and the premise kind of like spooked me a little bit. And again, if you guys know me at all, or if you trust what I say here on camera, if I think that the movie is going to freak me out, I would rather get the book and read the book so that I'm mentally and emotionally prepared for what is about to happen. Because if it gets too scary, I'm just going to put it down. So I haven't read this book. I'm excited to read it. That's it. That's all I have to say. And if I like it, I'll probably watch the movie after. All right. So next we have The Reading List by Sarah Nisha Adams. Again, something I'm unfamiliar with, an author that I do not know. I must have picked this up due to people's feedback on Goodreads or something along those lines. Widower Mukesh lives a life in West London where he shops every Wednesday, goes to temple, and worries about his granddaughter Priya, who hides in her room all day reading. Alicia is a bright but anxious teenager working at the local library when she discovers a forgotten slip of paper in the back of To Kill a Mockingbird. It contains a list of novels she's never heard of before. Intrigued, she decides to read every book on the list. As each story gives up its magic, the book transports Alicia away from the painful realities she's facing at home. When Mukesh arrives at the library, desperate to forge a connection with his bookworm granddaughter, Alicia wonders if the books might be a lifeline for him too. As the reading list begins to circulate in their community, new readers discover how fiction can illuminate so much about joy and sorrow and real life. And I'm definitely loving the concept of this for 2 reasons. One, because clearly it is a book about books. Plus also the cover. Can we just talk about the cover? What a bright, happy, accessible, inviting yellow and, you know, cover it is. So I just love the cover. And also because, as I may or may not have mentioned, I did write my master's thesis on the uses of fantasy fiction for learning in the classroom to help with personal growth and transformation. And so, of course, I understand how books in general are an integral part of personal learning, personal growth, personal transformation. And, they help you to feel all the intangible things that life itself may not throw your way. I don't know if I'm making sense about that, but like you can learn, for example, about love, courage, integrity, but integrity is not something that can be necessarily taught in the classroom. It's more of something that you need to experience. And joy can be spoken about didactically, but if you've never experienced joy, do you really know what it is, etc. So there's a lot of concepts that we could go into, but we're not going to go into them obviously in this video. But the reading list, I'm liking where it's going. So let me know if you've read this one and what you think of it. All right, and the last book that I have to show you guys is this one here, which is Four Treasures of the Sky by Jenny Tingyu Zhang. I hope I'm saying her name right. And this one here, I think I may have gotten it definitely on bargain from the bargain books section. It is originally was priced at $27.99 US, $36.99 Canadian. It is a hardcover. It's the only hardcover book in this haul. There was a bargain book price of $17.49 on it, but I'm sure I didn't pay more than $6 or $7 at Book Outlet. So the reason that I picked this book up is because it was a debut novel, and I was in the debut novel section of the website, and I just love to pick up debut novels because it helps you to discover a new author, a new voice. Even if those authors have been around for some time, if I don't know them, I love to see origin points. I love to see where people are starting out. And then if I like the author, I can follow their journey as they grow and improve and mature and get more comfortable in their vocation. So love a debut novel. This one here, I'll read you the flap. Dayu never wanted to be like the tragic heroine for whom she was named, revered for her beauty and cursed with heartbreak. But when she's kidnapped and smuggled across an ocean from China to America, Dayu must relinquish the home and the future she imagined for herself. Over the years that follow, she's forced to keep reinventing herself to survive. From calligraphy school to a San Francisco brothel to a shop tucked into the Idaho mountains, we follow Dayu on a desperate quest to outrun the tragedy that chases her. As anti-Chinese sentiment sweeps across the country in a wave of unimaginable violence, Dayu must draw on each of the selves she has been, including the ones she most wants to leave behind, in order to finally claim her own name and story. So anyway, this book sounds really, really good. I'm excited to read it. I don't have a lot of hardcover. I don't read a lot of hardcover, but I don't necessarily mind it. So I'm pretty sure it probably said this book was hardcover when I bought it, but I guess I just didn't care. So that is it for this video's book haul. I hope you guys enjoyed the content. I would love if you would let me know in the comments below if you have read any and or all of these books, because that would be really coincidental. But let me know if you've read any of these books, what you thought about them. If there are any other books that you want to suggest to me from the same authors that you know about, I would love to go check that out. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and watching this video. Please remember to like this video and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you again in the next one. Ciao for now.